Good day, everybody. Brian here from quantlabsnet.com. Today's video, we are going to take a look at and just talk about the last few days what I've been doing with AI. I call it code generation. The kiddies and the youngins call it vibe coding. So let me show you what we've got here. So I've kind of been playing with the latest analysis, running through all the things that I do with to generate my Streamlit applications, and I've noticed that uh, we'll say YouTube seems to everyone's interested in my C++. So I thought, why not try to generate the equivalent what I generate for Streamlit, portfolio rebalancing with just a CLI, a command line interface. So here's all the source files that's been generated. It's basically take the executive summary of all the future assessment of the options and futures. Same process, same executive summary. I just fed that and say, give me a C++ file. So the first thing I did was I started experimenting with agents. One of the better uh, LLMs, I guess we call it, is Manus, which is from China. It's beyond excellent in generating some very deep trading systems. I tried it one last night in Python, spent quite a bit of time. It took about half an hour to run. It looked beyond amazing. I've talked about what comes out of the Qwen, some of the HFT stuff. Uh, that there was a lot of gold nuggets in that source code. I've not taken a look at the one generated by Manus, and it's really impressive. Anyways, so I tried it. I had to abandon it. It was just getting kind of complicated. The code was too much, and the structure, the file structure, blah blah blah. So I abandoned it. So I did the same thing. As I said, instead of generating a Streamlit app, I just decided to create a C++ app. First, I tried to generate it with JavaScript front end with charting using Chart.js, and again, I had to abandon that. It was just too much. I'm beyond convinced now when it comes to Claude 3.7, you really can only trade or generate uh, a CLI application, command line interface. So that's what I did here. It took a bit of time again, still very complicated to run. Um, so here's the application, and it's generated all the assets that it thought were looking pretty good. Um, so let's say here, we've got a portfolio here. So it's chosen all the standard strategies, RTY, arbitrage, ZC call option strategy, and Iron Condor on CC. So instead of 500,000 or 50,000, I just said, why not try $1 million, see how that would allocate. One of the things I noticed with the Manus, they assumed that I was running a $10 million account. And with Manus, it was so precise and so impressive. It'd go out and start back testing and reiterating on its own to try to get a 70% accuracy rate on the winning trade. And it came back and said it got it to 67 based upon the conditions. I fed it with a normal prompt, and then there's another utility you can use to generate what they call now a super prompt, which are specific for Manus. It looked amazing. So I may experiment with that and bypass Claude at some point because the code it generated was really impressive and may look at Manus. I don't know. Anyways, this is what we have from Claude. So that's the portfolio here. So obviously we don't have it. Now, I did not put any live data here. Um, no market data. I did not use any execution order data with something like interactive brokers. I think that can be done with C++, with the API. I've tried it. I know it works with Python. One other thing I did, I generated on Saturday. I had somebody had a spec that I asked for many months ago. They came back with a spec, and that was created, and that was with a Streamlit application in Python. And I asked for it to generate all the back testing. It was specific only for Bitcoin. So it only came back, and it went back with the back testing of a year and a half, let's say, beginning last year. It only came back with 4% return uh, for that strategy. And there's different pattern recognition as well, but generally it was just not worth pursuing to generate all the other code. But one of the big things I want to highlight there, and I've been doing this for the last little while, as part of the prompting in Python, I've asked for it to generate Kraken API code. Works perfectly. I couldn't believe on the Python code, it worked no problem. It was totally different with interactive brokers, but I got that working too. But with Kraken, it was much easier. Anyways, back to what I was saying here. So we're in this particular app. I'll put this on my Quant Elite membership. I do not advertise that on my website. If you want to get access to it, just ask me because I want to make sure you're the right fit. It's not, as we get more into live trading and proving this stuff works the right way. Um, yeah, this will be very valuable, including my course as well for futures and options trading. Okay, so continue along. Sorry about the long rant there. So we have our performance history here. Obviously, there's no performance because there's no live trading with it. Here's the strategy details. So here we can choose between any of those strategies and any of those instruments that we want for both futures and options and RT, ZC, or CC. I think one of them was cotton, I think. But let's say ZC, which is soybean, I think. I can't remember. So I'll give you a little description here on what it's going to do. Okay, this is corn. Strategy involves buying call options on corn futures to gain leverage exposure to agriculture commodity price increase. It has a high volatility but potential for larger return. Remember now we are August 6th, so we're entering in the harvest season. So the prices of the futures of these agriculture products will go up. So if I look at number 3 again, so let's see on cotton. What's this one? So iron condor and cocoa futures sells both call and put options to collect premium. It profits when prices remain in range, but can experience large losses during significant price movements. Might not be so good to try that. Okay, so I can turn it on off strategies I want. So those are 2 of the 3. That might be a little high risk. So as I said, we can toggle on or off. So let's say I want to turn off that high risk one. That's number 3. Boom, boom. So if I go and look at the toggle, you see it's deactive. I just made it inactive. The third one there. So let's take a look at the risk metrics. So this is pretty cool for a C++ application, no Python. But again, you're not getting the visuals. Now, I could add visuals if I wanted with new plot. I could probably try to do that. Maybe I might do that another time. You can see here we get all the standard metrics here: volatility, max drawdown, VAR, and conditional VAR, value at risk. Uh, so we can generate a forecast here. So let's say we like that corn futures one forecast. Let's say over the next, I don't know, 30 days. There you go. So it gives you some short term, and beyond that, not much more growth. Okay. So trading insight, relatively flat price predicted. Consider range bound strategies. Okay. So let's check out the first one, RTY. Let's say 30-day. So that's going to lose money. So I could run it over the next first 3 days, and then I'll lose. So interesting there. Relatively flat price. Consider range bound strategy. So again, if okay, let's go back to the toggle strategy. Turn on the other one, the CC. Go back to the generate forecast. See what this one generates. CC 30-day, let's say. Yeah. So predicted consider short positions. This is quite good actually. So the other thing I like about it, as if I was to trade this and have that add that trading functionality in it, I could do that. Um, we could look at rebalancing the portfolio. So here I could rebalance and say, oh, I don't like that CC1, and say the CC1, I'm going to enter a zero allocation, and then it's strategy current allocation. So I have to rebalance it because if I take away allocation of one, I have to double. No, I have to make 35. Let me just leave it. No, I can't. So I've taken away 30% here. So now it's asking me to reallocate more money to ZC. I could do that. So I'll make it, I don't know, I'll go crazy and say 65%. And what's the balance? So I'll say 35% for the remaining on this one. Successful. So if I show you the rebalancing here, so there you go. That's the rebalancing right there. No. Okay. So what we could do is we could add more functionality in the chat as part of the vibe coding process. Again, I'm using Claude here, and I could do that. But I just want to show you the functionality here. So let me just exit here. Okay, so let me just show you some of the README file here. Again, this will be found on my Quant Elite Programming membership. If you want access, get in touch with me, okay? Or comment. I'll tell you where to go, where I respond. So here, we're going to take a look at the README. So here are all the different files, what they do. This has been compiled on Debian, Ubuntu, WSL, all the necessary dependencies, how to build, um, make, rebuild, make clean, running the app, and all the different functions. Here's the design file structure of it, how to deploy it. All this is code generated as well. So we've got a make file here as well. That's probably one of the more complicated ways of doing things for us. So I'll show you the README in the Markdown. So again, this is generated via the AI. So you can see here we got the arbitrage, call, options, iron condor. And again, I haven't looked at the source code. I've got two projects up on my website I put up last week. If you want that. Actually, I might move those into my, again, Quant Leap membership. This will end up in my Quant Leap membership today as well. Now remember, this is moving forward as of August 6th. So it's using the ARIMA because I specifically asked that as part of my in the executive summary document that I've talked about. When it came to the Manus AI process, it chose three different ones. Plus, I asked it to combine it with just general in a generic prompt technical analysis. And then the thing that refines and makes a super prompt out of that, it came back and asked for what kind of technical indicators do you want, and it asked me for what kind of quantitative techniques do I want. ARIMA was one option, but there were some other ones as well, and that was a pretty powerful code base that generated from Manus AI, which are all your agents and all that. It's pretty impressive. Anyways, and there you go. That's the general simple README Markdown uh, there. So all in all, that's pretty good. So let me take you over to if you like this stuff. Okay, we are getting quite a few number of people joining now. I think we got my website's got 630 people now in the website. That's quite a bit. I never thought I'd get that much after a year with this new domain. But if you want to know more and you want to get a free ebook, you can just come to the website, quantlabsnet.com, right here. Fill in your info. I do not release any of that. And then you'll get the ebook. Or otherwise, you can do it the fancy way with the fancy video. Same thing, and you'll get your C++ ebook. Either one works fine. And we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.